You are about to hear an incredibly inspiring interview with one of my Soulful Six Figure Mastermind clients. I cannot wait for you to hear their journey and their insights and all of their nuggets of wisdom. But before we dive in, I thought I have to let you know this is super exciting. The Soulful Six Figure Mastermind is actually opening applications this month for our next round, which starts on November 2nd. So mark your calendars because applications will be open from October 13th through the 27th or until the mastermind fills. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is my most elite high-touch program. So it's a 6-month business mastermind for entrepreneurs who want to grow their business and create financial overflow, but without that hustle, grindy, panicky energy behind it. We really do it through alignment. Now, this isn't your average mastermind in that I'm not going to give you a 3-step strategy or process to follow or a huge to-do list. Not around here. Truly, our focus is on your energy in business and your energy around money. When you learn to master your energy, that changes everything. You'll find that you don't have to work so hard and you begin to attract incredible opportunities and clients and income and all kinds of things into your life. And you get to stop trying to force things to happen. In fact, my clients who have gone through the mastermind start working less and making way more money. Because the truth is, ease, abundance, and fun are 100% available to you. You just have to let go of these conditioned beliefs that tell you that business and money has to be hard and it has to take a long time and you have to struggle in order to make it happen. So if you're ready to step into the abundance that is your birthright and create more ease and joy in your business while making more money than you ever thought possible, you're going to want to apply for the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind this round. Now, like I said, this is my most intimate, high-touch program, and I only open it up to a limited number of clients twice a year. Now, this round, we have 2 different cohorts. So we have one for those of you who are entrepreneurs who are working towards your first 100K in business. And the other is for those of you who are already at 6 figures and you're focused on scaling to multiple 6 figures up to $1 million. So in order to ensure that each group has perfect fit clients that are really going to be able to make the most out of this mastermind, it's an application-only process. And we are taking a maximum of 15 people, and those spots are filling up fast. So many of my past clients are coming back into and re-signing. So if you are interested in getting into this round of the mastermind, you're going to want to apply. You can go to my show notes to find out more and find the link right there. But for now, let's get into this amazing interview with one of my Soulful Six Figure Mastermind clients. Welcome to Money, Manifestation, and Business, the podcast that shows you how to use your energy, intention, and consciousness to reprogram your money mindset, unleash a new level of possibility, and create a life and business that lights you up. I'm your host, Jamie Berman, and I invite you to join me each week for a dose of inspiration, coaching, and teachings to help you rewrite your money story, create abundance on your terms, and grow your business in a way that's fully aligned for you. This is going to be so much fun. Let's dive in. So today I have Dorothy AB Johnson with me, who is, if you are in the coaching world, you probably have heard of her because she is kind of famous and she is the breakup coach, Dorothy. And I am so thrilled for this interview. And what is actually so exciting for me about this is I've known Dorothy for a long time now. We go way back and we've really been on this entrepreneurial journey together. So, me and Dorothy were in the same certification class at our coaching school. I don't know what it was, like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, back in 2019. And we have grown so much. We've grown so much together. It's been absolutely amazing. And she already knows this. But for the listeners, I just have to credit Dorothy because Dorothy is part of the reason I have this business now. I remember back a while ago, this was years ago, we were having like a little walk and talk conversation. And I had a completely different coaching business, a different niche where I totally loved my clients. I loved coaching, but I didn't feel like I was sharing all of me. And I remember having this conversation with Dorothy, and she was just talking all about her business and her clients and her brave hearts and how much she loved it. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I want a business where I love it as much as Dorothy does. Like, is that possible to love your niche that much? And when I asked her, she's like, yes, Jamie. And like that lit up something in me where I really she just became an expander for me. And I decided I really want to love my business as much as she does. And with that, that's when I went on the journey of questioning some things, making adjustments, kind of coming out as the full me. And now I have to say, Dorothy, I love my business. I have that same energy for mine as you have for yours. So thank you so much. And of course, I'm going to let Dorothy introduce herself. But first, I want to cover some of the topics that we're going to dive into today, because Dorothy has been in the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind for the past, we're on our 4th month. So she joined, last round was her first time going through it. And oh my gosh, the growth has been absolutely incredible and inspiring. And I just really want her to share her story. So some of the things we're going to talk about today are energetic shifts. And I'm sure so many of you listeners hear me talking about energy, or hear my clients who come on that I'm interviewing, and we're always talking about energy and why it matters. And I remember when Dorothy came in, she's like, what are you talking about? What is this energy thing? I don't get it. I just want the results. And yet she had the biggest energetic shift ever. So I want to dive into that so that we can kind of pull that apart and what that actually means. Because I know it can seem a little confusing. It's not something we talk about a lot in business. So we want to cover that. I want to talk about what happened to her when she let go of trying to sell and trying so hard. She got out of the trying energy and what opened up for her. And then we're going to just talk about working less and earning more, and how Dorothy's becoming a millionaire mama. And we're going to dive into that as well. Dorothy, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. Tell us about your business. I know how much you love it. Tell us what you do, who you work with, all the things.
Okay, first, before I say that, I do have to tell you that I love you and your new business. It's so good. I mean, I loved you before, right? Don't get me wrong. We don't have to take it to that extent. But I very much just forever, it's so interesting hearing you say that story back to me, because I remember talking with you, and I didn't necessarily need coaching from you about your old niche. I wanted to learn manifestation from you. And I kept being like, when are you going to coach on this? How can I want coaching with you on manifestation. Do you want to take a random one-off, one-on-one? I always wanted to work with you. I just wanted to work with you in the capacity of learning manifestation from you. And it was so natural. It was so easy to see from you. And so I find that so fascinating. And so I don't know, I think I told you this the other day, but sometimes you can see people from the outside and you're like, that person is living the life they've meant to live, they're meant to live. And I see you in that light so clearly of you are doing what you are meant to be doing. And it's just so cool. So thank you for taking that leap. I know it probably wasn't super easy at first, but I am so glad that you did it. I'm so glad that I have you as a coach, and it's been phenomenal.
Thank you. You know what's crazy? I don't even remember you asking me that. And I probably just wasn't owning me as a manifestation coach yet. So like, I don't even think I was willing to hear that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. Oh my gosh.
Too good.
So
Too good.
So yeah, tell us about what you do.
Yeah, I'm breakup coach Dorothy. I help people get over their ex in 3 months or less. I went through a very traumatic breakup back in 2016 before I knew what coaching was. The whole thing that had happened was he broke up with me on the phone. I went back to our house to get all of my things, and he had a new girl living in the house that we got together. It was a lot at that time. And I spent about a year and a half Googling how to get over your ex, how to forgive and let go, how to move on when your ex moved on quickly. And I did all of the things. I wasn't just passively Googling and researching. I was applying everything that they told me. I meditated, I journaled, I got in the best shape of my life, I traveled. I did it all. And a year and a half later, I found myself in a new relationship, still feeling so angry, still feeling so resentful, comparing this new person to my ex, blaming this new person for things that my ex did that he had nothing to do with. And so that's when I really knew something wasn't right. I had stumbled across the Life Coach School podcast and learned that thoughts create feelings, and realized that a lot of what I was being told via the Googles, the breakup advice out there, is really addressing breakup symptoms instead of the root cause. And so that's when I realized, like, time heals everything wasn't necessarily true, because if you don't change your thoughts within that time, your feelings won't change. And the no contact rule was really just trying to remove triggers around you instead of learning how to reduce desire for your ex and attachment to your ex so that you're not triggered in the first place. So I really found solutions that were long lasting, that stuck, and that didn't take time to implement. And that's when I knew I wanted to be a breakup coach. I was so excited. I mean, you and I, like Jamie had mentioned, we were in certification together. So going throughout certification, I even knew that I was going to be a breakup coach. Never had niche drama. I just got to work on helping people get over breakups in a completely new way. So I'm very proud of that. And I'm also very grateful that I found it so early on in my life, you know?
Yeah. It's like it was made for you. Like it was meant to be. It was this knowing that you had. It's just who you are. You are the breakup coach. How many people do you think at this point you've helped get over their breakups?
Oh my gosh, there's so many, and you can't count them all because I have a podcast. And so the podcast has millions of downloads, and there are people who will definitely reach out to me saying the podcast changed them and they're over their ex and they're so grateful. But how many of them haven't reached out and told me that? So I'm sure like thousands at this point.
It's amazing.
So crazy.
So awesome. It's just really fun to reflect, because it doesn't feel like that long ago that both of us were just sitting in that room learning to become life coaches and going all in on our entrepreneur track, like learning how to build a business. And then here you are, having helped thousands and thousands of people get over their ex. It's so cool.
Mind-blowing, Jamie. Mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. It really, really is. So I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about where you were and what was coming up for you whenever you found the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind. And I'm just curious, what pulled you in? I've never asked you that. I'm just curious. Like, what was it about it that made you decide to join?
Yeah, this is a great question. I actually saw you doing something else. I joined one of your free things first, and I don't remember what it was. I think it might have been like the 5-day money manifestation something. And I was in the middle of a launch. The beginning of, I just want to give some context to people listening. So in like 2021, I had a very clear vision as to what I was doing. I was launching and learning how to love launching. I did that. Awesome. Cool. Then 2022 was evergreen, learning to love evergreen. Did that. Awesome. Both years I made the same amount of money. So then in 2023, I had a really rough personal life at the end of 2022, and kind of a lot of my personal life exploded. And so then going into 2023, I wasn't really focused on my business. I was very focused on just surviving at that point. And so when I ran into you, it was me having picked up my business for the first time in a while, being like, what am I doing this year? Like, what is this year for my business about? I have no idea. And we're already through the first quarter. Do I want to keep doing my business? I was just like in a unraveling almost. And it was just really comforting seeing you pick up something that you love and then watching you do it. It was comforting having known you. It was comforting that you had known me in the past. I guess the word that just keeps coming up for me is it was comforting. So I started watching what you were teaching. I started applying what you were teaching, and things were working really well with that. And I still didn't have a clear vision. I still didn't have a clear understanding of like what I was doing this year or anything, but at least it was giving me some momentum and excitement to be in my business again, which was hard at that point in time. So then when you talked about the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind, I was like, I would love to do that. I would love to just be in the energy of Jamie. I would love to be surrounded by other women who it's not just like masculine energy of goals and numbers and money and clients. I need something more feminine that holds space for me at that time. I know that I wasn't broken, but I felt like I was falling apart. So I needed a space that could like give me space to be my human self while also trying to run this multiple six-figure business and keep it alive, and not only keep it alive, but to expand it and grow. And I wanted, I have big goals. I had big goals. And so I just felt very called to be in your energy is maybe the most simple answer that I can give you.
Yeah. And isn't that actually funny? Like I hear that the most of like, people are like, I'm just drawn to your energy. And that's what I teach people is it's all about energy, right? Like it's
So
it really is. Business is all about energy. And I think we've all just learned so much and consumed so much and learned so much about like, oh, you have to do X, Y, or Z to be successful and you have to follow this way. And for me, sometimes it just feels so bad. It feels like I'm trying to manipulate people into like, you know what I mean? Coming in whenever I'm following these other strategies and whenever I let go of that and like really realize, wait, what if I just focus on my energy? That's when it's so interesting because every time I ask someone, what drew you in? It's like your energy. And so there is something there. And I know you've had definitely a journey with that. Because at first we're like, what are you talking about? Right?
Oh my gosh, you guys, it was so funny. I feel like as I got into your world and started watching you coach, which also is super cool when you go through certification with someone and you go through certification, you see them as a coach who's just beginning. And then it's been years since I've watched you coach. To then watch you coach and be in your zone of genius, I'm like, yes, it's so good. It's so cool to see, But as soon as I started, one thing that I just noticed that pulled you apart from a lot of other coaches that I watch coach was almost every single time her first question from her mouth would be something along the lines of like, what's the energy behind that? Or where's your energy at? Or what does that feel like? Or something along those lines. And I just remember constantly thinking to myself, no, boo, I want to change the R line though. I don't really care about the energy. I want to change the R line. What do we got to do to change the R line? And she kept having to bring me back to be like, the energy changes the R line. And so the way that I got that straight in my head after a while was like, okay, she's also talking about the thought and feeling line.
Yes.
And I think you might have even said that to me recently of like, oh, energy, you can just like, it's almost like if you saw the model, you could put thought, feeling, and then you bucket those two things and say energy, right?
That's exactly it.
Which makes sense, right? Because the thought and the feeling, it's like weird, the model works, right? So it creates the R line. But it was just, I had the way that you talk about it and the way that you describe it and the way that you help shift even just the word of shifting, like, oh, I could just shift my energy around this and it changes the result. And it's like, yeah. Which is so hard for like our brain, our logical ego to grasp of like, even when we're coaches and we live the model, we know the model, we teach the model. And whenever I'm referring to the model, if you
aren't aware of what that is, we basically have a self-coaching model that we were both trained in as coaches, where it's like there are circumstances and then there are thoughts and then there are thoughts about that circumstance. Our thoughts create our feelings drive our actions, and our actions create results. So the results are the R line, right? And so many people, even when they totally understand the model or cognitive behavioral psychology, I think it's so common to understand it in one area of your life or the area that maybe you coach in, but to forget that it works everywhere. And that it, in fact, indeed does work around money and around clients and around business, right? Our thoughts create our results when it comes to money. And so that's really my specialty, is just consistently bringing people back to, what's at the core of this? Because it is always at the root of everything we create. It's going to be our thoughts and our feelings. And that's what I refer to as energy. So yeah. Beautifully put. So at what point was it that you were willing to test that out?
I think it wasn't right away, to be quite honest. I mean, you did a free thing and I dabbled with it very lightly, but I didn't make major shifts until the retreat happened. And it was, I had then been in the mastermind. And maybe some coaches who are listening can resonate with this. Have any of you ever been in the container? You're in this mastermind container and you see everyone around you succeeding. And you're like, what's wrong with me? How are these people getting these results? All they're talking about is shifting energy. I'm here launching every other week. It's not working. It's getting worse. What's going on? Right? And that was kind of my situation. And it's funny because I came in feeling pretty confident about myself. I'm like, I know what I'm doing. I know how to make 300K launching. I know how to make 300K, evergreen. I've got this. I've got this. And to then watch my peers do so well, which was absolutely amazing and stunning and awesome and so cool. And then watch myself just struggle really badly. At first I was like, it was making me make it mean I'm bad at manifesting. I'm bad at this. What's wrong with me? And so that's when I was kind of realizing I'm not actually trying to shift my energy. I'm just trying to double down on my action and strategize while also trying to take pieces of this work and implement it. And so the precursor to everything was your 21-day reboot that you did in Money Manifestation Movement, which was fire. So that got me immersed in your material on a daily basis, which to me is so necessary and needed. I love structure. I love ritual. I love routine. So it gave me a video to watch and an exact exercise. And so it started getting me into oh, this is what energy is. This is what she's talking about. This is making sense. So then by the time I'm about to go to this retreat, I said to myself an intention of, I need to make an energetic shift. I'm feeling defeated. I'm feeling discouraged. I feel resistant. I feel icky. I feel graspy. I feel needy. And I haven't felt that since I was a beginner coach. So I was like, it was almost a hands in the air, Jesus take the wheel moment of I'm done. The only thing I need from this retreat at this point is an energetic shift. I'm done feeling like this. I'm done thinking like this. I just can't do it anymore. I don't want to do my business if this is what it's like. This is not worth it to me. So then we go to the retreat, right? And the retreat just changed everything. It was absolutely insane. Going in with that intention of my only job is to shift my energy released so much. I didn't have to, there was no pressure on figuring out a plan or finalizing a plan. There was no pressure to say, we need to get this done or this done. It was just the only job I have right now is in the next 3 days, I make an energetic shift so that I feel better. And that was just mind-blowing and monumental. And as soon as I did that, it opened up space for me to see a lot of things that I wasn't really seeing. And I think that's when you had I don't remember how this came up in conversation exactly, but I was supposed to launch again in the next month. And my launches were just getting worse and worse and worse, which is the complete opposite of what normally happens for me. And I remember you being like, why don't you just not launch? And I was like, I don't even see how that's an option at this point. Like, I don't see how that is an option, but by telling myself I'm just ready for an energetic shift, again, like that opened up the possibility of like, what if it was an option for me? Right. And that's when all of a sudden things started just like moving and flowing. And it sounds so like, I don't want to say the words woo woo, but it sounds conceptual, but it was a very tangible experience. I ended up that was when I signed 5 clients in 5 days. As soon as I made that energetic shift, I was signing client after client after client 5 days in a row after going like a whole month of not signing anyone and having had done a launch. I had never launched and sold no one. It was like mind blowing.
Yes. Yes. Because before it seems like where you were was, and tell me if this is accurate, but you were in actions create results. So if I want to hit these numbers, I have to double down. I have to work harder. I have to work more. And I remember the question she would always come to me with before was like, I just need a strategy. I just need a tangible strategy. Remember that? Or like, I just want to know what to do to create this. And that's always been what worked is what do I do? Right. And so you were in that space. And it's actually, I think, such a beautiful thing that you had that experience where you're like, let me double down and try if it works. So you did start launching every single month, like full on launch every month. But it got to the point where then you really gave yourself evidence this doesn't work, right? Because first of all, the energy behind it was, like you said, kind of graspy. It was like trying really, really hard. And every launch, it was like less and less people were coming in, less and less people converting. So I think that allowed for you to just get to the place where you were exhausted and surrender and be like, let me just try something new. And I had that moment myself after my first 100K year, where that's exactly what I did was I worked super hard. Like I thought my A line created the R line and that was what I focused on. But then you end up, sure, you can get results, but it's like so depleting. And it's like, is this really, you know what I mean? It's not as fulfilling. So when you get to that place where it's like, okay, I'm willing to try anything. And you did, and you set that intention to shift your energy. And yeah, ever since then, it's been absolutely amazing. And the conversation has completely shifted ever since then. You haven't once like came with like, I need a strategy, right?
Isn't it wild? And I'm now like almost so averse to action. And I don't mean that in like a bad way of just, it's not worth it to me anymore. The experience that I had with that was just so not worth it. I would rather have a regulated nervous system. I would rather feel less stressed. And you can do all those things and not feel stressed, right? But
of course,
just from my personal experience, I am almost averse to action right now because it's not worth it. And what's interesting too, and this kind of ties in, kind of doesn't, Jamie, but I'm noticing a shift around what I charge. Like I feel so comfortable with what I charge because I know it's such an over deliver on like a level that I've never even imagined. And so even like I started, I think I've told you where I started, I haven't done one-on-one work in forever. And it's really not my favorite thing to do. But then I started doing it at such a higher level with people who can't literally be in group containers because of like public personas and things like that. And I charge a rate that actually feels fulfilling to me. And so then when it's a fulfilling rate or it's a rate that I feel like is, I don't want to use the word worthy, but like it's like worth it to me. It's a completely different experience of, I love sitting down and having that one-on-one conversation with that person now. Whereas before, I feel like when I was undercharging for that kind of specific container, it wasn't the same. And I don't know how else to put that, but it reminds me of like the A line of, is it really worth it? And another thing I realized too, is once I stopped doing all of the action, I don't know how to put this. But I stopped posting on Instagram every day. I stopped posting stories every day. I continued my weekly podcast episodes, but I also stopped launching and doing all of these like almost free events. And what's been fascinating to me is that I feel like I have more people signing up because they don't have me outside of the Get Over Your Ex program anymore.
Yes.
which was like mind blowing to me. And it feels so good with my energy of like, yeah, I spend all of my energy delivering to the people who actually pay me. And I love
Yeah.
that. Like, I love that
Yeah.
feeling. I love that feeling so much. Like, all this time that I've been spending on social media or whatever, I can now like pour into my people times 10. And it feels really, really good.
Yes. This is alignment, right? This is what it feels like. And the experience of what it's like to have a business that feels like it's in alignment in terms of how you market, the way you market, how you charge, what you're offering. And I love that question of like, is it worth it? And it seems like that one question probably is what really has helped you in terms of, is it worth it to be exhausted and have my nervous system be a wreck? No, it's no longer worth it. Is it worth it to charge a rate that I don't feel aligned with and then do one-on-one work and give away my time? No, right? That's such a powerful question. I love that.
I wanted to just add to that too. Here's why your work is so important when it comes to a coaching business is the component of the money piece that you bring in of learning how to get out of scarcity with money. I couldn't get
Yeah.
into that until I learned how to stop worrying about money. The
Mm-hmm.
one module that you have in MNM about like worrying with money, like that to me is, I feel like you should sell that one video for like so much money because it changed my life. Like, I couldn't get out of the survival piece with that. Like, I couldn't have dropped into where I'm at now without getting out of scarcity or survival with money. And to do that, I really had to stop worrying about money. And I think the biggest shift that I had was when I went to worst case scenario. I make all these changes in my business and I lose everything. I lose the like I stop signing clients. I stop making money. I lose my house, I lose my investments, I lose my bank accounts, and I'm out on the streets. Which also, like when you say it out loud, it's like, wow, that's really ridiculous. I highly doubt that would happen. It'd probably cost me more money to shut my business down than it would just keep it open.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then also, like, my family's going to let me live with them or whatever. But even if I was under a bridge somewhere homeless, like the things that actually matter to me in my life are snuggling with my dog Tinkerbell, labor, manual labor, like doing yard work, putting my hands in the earth, gardening. And 3, building connections with other human beings and helping and serving the world. And I can do all 3 of those things with no money and being homeless. And that big epiphany to me was so mind blowing that I was like, cool. Again, another hands in the air, Jesus take the wheel moment of I can lose it all and I'm still going to be great. I might actually feel better about my life because then I get to do the things that I really just want to do. So to me, that moment was like a mind blowing moment of like, I can really just let go and I can really allow myself to try this shifting of the energy thing that Jamie talks about because I couldn't do
Yeah.
it until I got to that point.
So such a good point, Dorothy. Seriously, that really is a huge piece is because right when we have something and we're like, "Oh, it's proven to work even though I feel miserable, but it's proven to work." And you're in this place where like you feel like you have to do it to survive, right? I have to do it to pay this and I have to do it to pay that. We aren't willing to try something new, right? You're not willing because like our brain does not understand manifestation. It doesn't make sense. It sounds like this woo-woo concept. You know, it's hard to surrender into that. But yes, if you're willing to do work around your relationship with money and scarcity, and again, like the way that Dorothy did that, and I have different ways that I help my clients eliminate worry about money, which literally will change your life, like in so many ways. And it's a huge part of the work that we do in the movement. But it's like when you release that and you know no matter what I'm going to be good, I'm going to be safe, like then it's like you don't have to try so hard, right? And you don't have to do things that you don't want to do. We are willing to test out new ways. I forgot that shift happened. I remember you telling me, I think it was like right around the retreat where you came up and when we were in person and you were like, oh my God, I did that video and like this changed. And so it makes sense that that awareness came at the same time as your willingness to try a new way. And how amazing. So ever since you have tried this new way and you stopped launching every month, you stopped doing so much. And another thing I want to point out is sometimes it seems like we're not doing anything, but when we're doing things from an aligned energy, we're still doing things. We just don't notice it because it feels so natural and fun and alive. So again, it's not like you're not taking any action in your business. You're still showing up for your business every day. You're still doing your podcast. You're doing the things that feel aligned, but it almost seems as if we're adverse to taking action. But it's really, no, we're adverse to taking action from scarcity and force and making ourselves do it, and from resistance, right? Which feels so different.
Yes. I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah. So I'm curious, since you've done this work and like really prioritized your energy and allowed yourself to surrender in that, let go of scarcity, and have started kind of like doing what feels right, what has been the effect in your business of like working less?
Yeah, I think I'm really glad that you said what you said, because I think that's the biggest thing, is that I'm not necessarily working less. Like, I don't really track hours that I work. However, I work on projects I actually enjoy.
Yeah.
I work
totally
on things that I
right?
actually want to do. I remember at the beginning of the year, there was this project I really wanted to work on. I was coached out of it. And then finally, when I had this energetic shift and all the things, I was like, I still want to do that project. It's been months since I set it aside. I still want to do this project. I'm really excited about it. And so that's what I've been working on. And it's been so fun and so exciting, especially in the way, because I got coached on it recently, and the way that you put it that way of like, if you give yourself the deadline and say it's a project that you're getting paid $1 million for, and you can't overwork. And so ever since then, of putting a restraint on, it's due on October 26th. We're going to work 10 hours a week on it, and that's it. It's completely changed the game. And I feel like so excited and empowered to work on it. And it feels like it flows really easily, and I have a lot of fun. So that I feel like I'm just working on projects that I actually care about. I get to deliver more to my current people because I'm less exhausted from all the other things. I think I show up better probably. And I'm more creative, and more ideas drop in. I don't have to act on all the ideas, but I'm more creative in that, oh, this could be easy. And what are the ways that this could be easy? And what are the ideas that come in for that? So I like that. And then also, from a tangible place, I'm signing clients every week, and it feels like I'm not doing anything. I just don't know how else to put that. But I am signing clients every week, and I don't sell on Instagram anymore. Like, my standard stuff is up on Instagram, but I'm not on stories all day, every day. I'm not trying to think of posts and posting. I have a newsletter that goes out every week, but it's done automatically through my VA. And I deliver to my current clients, and I create my podcast, and it all just feels like a well-oiled machine that's just working and is only getting better. And with this new project coming up, I'm just even more excited to amplify that well-oiled machine. And it's been really fun.
So good. And that's your sacred business project, right? Which is something we do in the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind, is we pick a project for the 6 months to work on. And that's what Dorothy's is making the business a well-oiled machine. So good. Yes. So I'm curious. Also, I want to know, like, as you've eliminated worry and resistance, do you feel like there's energy that's opened up for you? Because worrying takes a lot of our time and a lot of our energy.
Yeah. I think that's why I'm able to even work on the project in the first place, is because I'm not spending time worrying about it or overthinking it or making sure that I'm doing it right. And so that's been huge for me. And I think I spent like a solid week after the retreat of just like emptying out all the worry and not refilling it with something else, but just letting that empty space be there, and then decide what I wanted to do and move forward with. I just really can't explain in words how not worrying about money has changed my life, and how not worrying about the business or just really worry in general. It's like, so, I mean, we all know it's not useful. However, experiencing not worrying has been really fun. It's just more playful. The word that was coming to mind when you were talking was playful. I feel like I'm playing in my business versus working in my business.
Yes. So good, right? It opens up so much creativity. And honestly, this is one of my biggest manifestation teachings amongst money and in the money manifestation movement. And we work on it a lot in the Soulful Six Figure Mastermind, is that intention to stop worrying, because I really think if we eliminate worry, it allows manifestations to just come into our lives. Like, I think of worry as just a manifestation blocker, because when we're in worry, we are literally imagining worst case scenario, which is the opposite of what we want to do when we're manifesting. We just keep visualizing what's the worst case. So when we eliminate that, that's when like it opens up so much space for magic. And I think a big part of manifestation, it's not only taking on new thoughts and mantras and, new energy. That's a huge part of it. Don't get me wrong. But it's also, what do I need to let go of? What's in the way of manifesting? And worry can be a huge piece of that. So it's just amazing to hear how that's shifted so much for you. I love it.
Yeah. And I know we've been talking a lot about business, but something that just came to mind of what attracted me to Soulful Six Figure Mastermind was the fact that you embody someone who's, yes, you can make money in business, but you make money in so many other ways. And I remember being like, Jamie, like, please teach me how you manifest so many funnels of money to your life, right? I wanted to have multiple different avenues for income to come through. And you've opened my mind up to that. And I think that that's been really fun too, because this whole manifestation thing, you guys, again, I'm like a pretty woo-woo person, but when Jamie was telling me all about this, I'm like, wow, girl, you are in deep. I don't know. But I wanted to learn it because I see how well it works for you and all the things you manifest in your life. I'm like, teach me how this works, because I want this. Right. And so it's been so cool to see manifestations outside of my business. And we were talking just the other day about how, so in my business, like there's a certain revenue that I've made in my business in the last 6 months and working together and within like the year. And then you had pointed out that I had like another revenue stream that came in, which then kind of like doubled everything. And I was like, wow, I didn't even like recognize it, right? Of like, I recognized that I manifested it, but I didn't recognize the tie of, I did learn how to manifest other forms of income while not having to like try. I didn't like go out seeking for it. I didn't know the how, I didn't know the what. It just like came to me. And that was so, so cool. And even manifestations that didn't have to do with money, you guys, it was the coolest thing. I will never forget on the retreat when we were sitting down for lunch and 2 people ordered a Diet Coke before me. And then I didn't order a Diet Coke. And then I was thinking, I wish I would have like ordered a Diet Coke. And then she just brought me the Diet Coke. And I was like, what happened? And I know it's so little, but it was so profound to me.
Yes. It was amazing. I mean, really, we were all in the vortex. It was just like one manifestation after the other at that retreat. And that's when like Dorothy, like every 10 minutes is like, a new client came in, and I'm not even working.
It was wild. That, and I manifested the hat. I manifested so much on that trip. It was absolutely insane. But I've really loved like the multiple revenue avenues, and then also looking at all the other ways that I can, create money and have money come in has just been so, it just also releases a bit of the worry, because it's like money doesn't have to just come in through my business. Money comes to me in so many other ways. So that's been exciting.
And at the beginning, you didn't believe it. I remember you'd see other people manifesting money and you're like, what the heck? I never get random checks. I was like, girl, you got to intend it. Let's do it. I was like, intend it. And then it ended up happening recently. And we're not just talking about a $500 check, right? Like,
oh my God, you guys, it was $147,000. That's insane to me. Like, blows my mind. What is
it dropped
that?
into her lap.
That was insane. But Jamie is correct. I would see other people get these checks and I was like, you guys are absolutely absurd. How is this happening to you? I get random bills in the mail. Like, what? And then this month has just been a completely opposite experience of that. I'm not getting bills. I'm just getting checks. So it's crazy.
Yes. So fun. So I'm so curious, what is next for you, Millionaire Mama?
Yes. I mean, continuing my dream of Millionaire Mama, I want to be a mom. I want to have a business that makes multiple millions of dollars that also supports me in being a mom. So I'm going to continue my project, which I'm really excited about, which supports Millionaire Mama. I'm getting my eggs frozen, you guys. It's going to be exciting. I'm so pumped for that. And yeah, I'm going to continue working towards my 83K months. And I'm going to be in Soulful Six Figure Mastermind with you again, which I'm super excited for. And I'm going to continue working on manifesting and being open to all these different ways to create money.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm so excited. It's awesome. This stuff makes me so giddy, like hearing the shifts and then also knowing what's up, like what's to come. And there's going to be so much magic. So I am so excited. And thank you so much for being here and sharing your story. It's so inspiring and it's just so fun being in Dorothy's energy, y'all. She's the best. So you have to go follow her. And yeah, please share, like, where can everybody find you? If somebody is struggling with a breakup, Dorothy's the person to go to. Where can they find you?
Yeah. So you can navigate to the podcast, which is called the How to Get Over Your Ex podcast. It can be found on Spotify, iTunes, all the places. And then if you want to hang out with me on Instagram, it's at Breakup Coach Dorothy. And then I have a website as well, which is dorothyabjohnson.com if you feel like visiting that. And yeah, I'm just like so grateful to be here, Jamie. Thank you so much for having me on to talk about my experience because it's just been so fun and such a wild, fun ride that doesn't even feel like a ride. It feels like we're playing. So that's good.
Yes, that's it. We are. We're totally playing. It's the best. Thank you, Dorothy.
Yes, thank you.
Hey, thanks for listening. I hope this episode is something that you'll be able to add to your manifestation toolbox to come back to when you need a little extra motivation. If you like what you've heard today and want to take it deeper, you've got to come check out my signature coaching program, the Money Manifestation Movement. It's the place where you'll not only learn manifestation, but you'll begin to live it alongside me and an amazing community of like-minded entrepreneurs doing this work together. Head on over to jamieberman.com to learn more.